Hello everyone, today we are going to draw Ariel, like the Little Mermaid, and also we're going to be drawing what I think her room would look like, because I thought that would be fun. So here you see that I decided to use an isometric perspective for drawing this. Now, what is an isometric perspective, you might be wondering? Or you may not. I mean, if you know it, more power to you. But if you don't, an isometric perspective is basically trying to draw a 3D thing in 2D, right? And right now I'm drawing on a digital piece of paper, so that's 2D, and I'm trying to draw a room, which is 3D, and so I had to use isometric perspective to do that. Well, I didn't have to, but I did. Anyway, it's the perspective that a lot of video games use. Like, I think Pokemon uses this perspective. I think. I've never actually played Pokemon. Well, I did once, but it didn't end well. Okay, I probably just annoyed a whole lot of people by saying that. Just know that Pokemon was not the problem. It was me. I don't think that's helping, so I'm just gonna move on. Anyway, I wanted to show you how to pull up an isometric grid in Procreate, because that's really the easiest way to draw things with an isometric perspective. And basically, the first thing you do is you go to Actions, then you go to Canvas, then you go to Drawing Guide, Edit Drawing Guide, then you hit Isometric Perspective. And that was my TED Talk. You're welcome. Also, if you don't use Procreate, I attached a link below with a grid that you can use if you want to, if you don't know how to do it, or if you feel like, or if the program you use doesn't have isometric perspective. So here you can see me doing the sketching, and I decided that if she had a room, she would probably have lots of knickknacks and, she used to have a cave full of stuff. So she probably would be the same way if she had a bedroom. But I'm not really good at filling up rooms with stuff. It's hard for me to think what would she have, especially when it's knickknacks. What knickknacks? What? I did not know what to do. So instead, I decided that I would make her be a gamer girl. Because that goes with her character, right? And so, instead of putting random knickknacks, which were really hard to come up with, I decided that I would put gamer girl knickknacks. Like a computer and a gaming chair. I don't know if this chair would qualify as a gaming chair, but it was cute, so, She also has a Switch. That's right. I know about gaming. I have to say though, compared to my first isometric room, like the first one I ever drew, this was so much better. And not only that, it was so much easier to do. And by easier, I mean, during the first one, I almost wanted to cry. I didn't though, I totally didn't. Who would cry because of a drawing, right? Not me. Moving on. Yeah, sometimes we don't really realize how far we've come until suddenly you're like, whoa, last time it was way harder to draw this. And then you're like thinking about it and you realize that you actually have improved, you know? It's a nice feeling. And by way easier, I mean, I didn't want to rip my hair out this time. I'm not saying it was easy, because beds are just weird. I think it's because they're so geometrical. Like, if you don't get them right, it's like you can tell. So that makes them a bit harder, but overall, this was a much better experience. So that's good. As for the line art, which we're doing right now, I slowed some of the parts down because I was using like very like straight lines. I don't know, like they were very even. There's not a lot of line variation. And I thought it was kind of like ASMR-ish to look at it in slow motion. Well, not in slow motion, but you know, real life. Which real life is pretty much slow motion when you're like me and watch everything at 2.5 speed. That's not even a YouTube speed. I totally don't do that. Anyway, it kind of reminded me of like the cutting soap videos in a way. Thinking about it now though, I do wish I had added a little bit more detail because I feel like the room looks a little bit generic. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't specifically be like, oh my gosh, that's the Little Mermaid's room. I think the color palette was good, and I did do a little fish. I should have done a Sebastian now that I think about it. That would have been really cute, but I didn't. But yeah, anyway, I wish I had done a little bit more detail in the bedroom, just added more stuff to it. I mean, I certainly could have looked around in my room. There's enough stuff in here, I'll tell you that much. So I definitely could have added more detail, but adding detail is hard. Anyway, then I went on to do the line art for her shelf thing, and I just decided to make it a whole bunch of stuffies. And the stuffies are, you know, Sanrio and stuff, and Pokemon. I'm a fake, I know, but I mean, at least I know who Charmander is, right? Just kidding, kidding, that was a joke. I know that's Jigglypuff. That was me kidding. It was funny. Anyway, now we're into the coloring portion of this, and you can see I started with just the two colors of the bedroom because I really wanted those to set the mood for the rest, you know, of the color palette. And if you look in the corner, in the top left corner, you'll see that I made a color comp. What? Me pre-planning? Yes, ma'am. Yes, I did. Because I was not going to be coloring this 17 times. just because I couldn't choose what colors to do. So yeah, and it was actually really helpful. I did change a few things. I was not planning to add yellow, but then I kind of had to because Flounder is yellow, so I did. And then I couldn't just make Flounder yellow because then it'd be weird if only one thing was yellow. So then I made the star yellow. And it was like, duh, right? But overall, yeah, I think the colors matched really well. I was pleasantly surprised. I will say though, I kind of wish that I had tried different color palettes. Like, yes, I did a color comp, but I did one color comp. And then I was like, great, this works, this is good. Let's go with this one. And I don't think that's how color comps work, really. I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing, so they could work like that, and maybe I just don't know, but I feel like you're supposed to do more than one, you know, because you're supposed to explore and stuff or something like that. I don't really know. But I definitely ended up not really doing a lot of exploring. Anyway, here is the last part, which is drawing the actual lady herself, the Little Mermaid. And this part was actually the easiest part just because I'm used to drawing characters. It was also the most enjoyable part for me because I'm used to drawing characters. But it was hard coming up with a pose for her because I did it all on my own lonesome, all on my own. Anyway, you know what I mean. I did it by myself, and I think it turned out pretty good. It might not be the most anatomically correct, but it looks cute, and that's all that matters. I went ahead and did basically the same type of line art, which is just mostly no line weight. I did do a little bit of line weight in some areas where things were overlaying each other, like where her forehead meets her bangs and stuff like that. Now I'm starting to think I maybe should have just left it so that it was more consistent with, you know, the bedroom drawing, but I really did not think this through. It was just like I drew a bedroom and now I want to draw a person in said bedroom, you know? So that's what I did. As for the colors, I pretty much stuck to her regular colors that she has in the movie. Oh, by the way, the reference I was using is the cartoon movie just because I have more of a cartoony style, and I don't know how I would do the live action in a cartoony style. Also, like, why would I do the live action in a cartoony style if I could just do the original cartoony style in a cartoony style? I don't know if that makes sense, but that was my reasoning. So that's why I drew her this way. I do think maybe in the future I'll try to draw the live action version. I think that would be really fun and it would be a good challenge because I would have to make her a little bit more realistic just so that she matches a little bit more. But we'll see. Anyway, Then I went ahead and added some gradients. And my favorite part was actually adding the little fins? Fin? You know, the things to the tail. It was cute. And it was pretty easy. As long as you know the trick. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Bye.